Greetings! Today we are learning Bagatelle from 10 Short Pieces by Anton Diabelli. This is a classical period piece in C major. It is a duple meter, 2/4 time. It's in ternary form, so it has an A section, a B section, and then the return of an A section. This piece has a full palette of dynamics and articulations. So forte, piano, diminuendo. It also has slurs, staccatos, accents. So there's a lot to focus on in this piece. It's going to require loose, bouncy wrists, firm fingers, and the ability to play staccato in the right hand while playing legato in the left hand. So there is a bit more coordination required of this piece than the previous pieces in this book. The A section is measures 1 through 8. First, I want to point out that on measure 3, we have a grace note. A grace note is a short, quick note before the note written. So you'll see the grace note is very tiny and has a little slur. You're going to play that quickly before the F. So it's G, and then when you play the F, that's when you also play the 6th in the left hand. So like that. Now, whenever you're learning a piece, whenever I'm learning a piece, I just block the grace notes until I feel really comfortable, and then when I feel comfortable, then I'll start breaking them and playing them separate. But when I'm first just blocking out the piece or mapping out the piece, I just play it blocked. It's just one less thing to worry about, and it will come pretty naturally after I'm comfortable. Okay, so while practicing hands separate, focus on the articulations and dynamics. There is a school of thought that believes that for anything that's not polyphonic music, and this is not polyphonic, you should learn hands together first before playing hands separate. And I understand the theory behind that, the whole getting the coordination down, but I am someone that struggles on focusing on everything at once. And so usually I break things apart into easy things to focus on, and so I would practice hands separate and then focus on those articulations and dynamics before putting hands together. Or if I was to do hands together first, I would be focusing more on notes and rhythm, and then I would add the articulations and dynamics afterwards. So for my own preference, I'm going to do hands separate. Measure 4 has a 2-note slur, so just keep in mind that you're going to lean on the first one, come up on the second one. And there's a 8th rest right after the B and D, so make sure that you lift completely and make that rest very clear. Measure 5, so the music starts forte at measure 1. Then measure 5, it becomes piano, and then it goes back to forte at measure 7. So you have dynamic switching around, and the forte, when it transitions into piano, there is a diminuendo at measure 4 to help with that. Okay, so let's do right hand by itself, nice and loud. Accent. 2-note slur, soft. Loud. All right, let's take a look at the left hand, loud. 2-note slur. First of all, I didn't do the piano section soft enough with the left hand, measures 5 and 6. It should have been more like that. So I would go back and do that again. Also, I just want to point out all this common tone in the left hand. C is repeated throughout most of it. Then down to G. C, C, F, G, G, C. That's the bass of the bagatelle without the upper notes. So the upper notes are what changes more. That you would need more focus on that, and you can kind of trust that the lower note is usually going to be C. And I also want to explain this fingering to you. So it says 1 and 4 on C and E, and in the past when we had a third, we usually did 2 and 4 or 1 and 3. The reason why it's 1 and 4 is to set you up to play that D sharp C easily, because again, finger 2 is much longer than the thumb, so it's easier to do this than this. So, or even that's a little bit of a stretch. Having said that, you could do 1 and 3, 2 and 3, that would be fine, or 2 and 4, 3 and 4, that would be fine too. It just seems like that might be the most comfortable option. Okay, let's put it together. I'm going to break the grace note now. Going on to the B section. B section is going to be measures 9 through 16. Again, a lot of different dynamics. We have 9 through 12 is forte, and then 13 through 16 is piano. It's serving as an echo. The notes are very similar to it, just changes at 16 to different endings, but for the most part, it's the same phrase twice. And then also there is a ritardando at measure 16, a polka ritardando. Polka means little, so you will slow down a little bit at the end of measure 16, or at least you should. Okay, so the way I would practice this is first I would just play through the left hand block because we have a chord progression there. We have G major, D7 with the 5th omitted, D7 with the 3rd omitted, G major, D7, back to G. So it's always a good idea to practice your chord progression first, especially when you have like this broken chords throughout. That way your hand will easily fall into each position. You don't have to worry about where your fingers go because you've already been practicing it out blocked, so your hands just know what to do. So I would do that first. Then, because this is a section where your right hand's going to be playing staccato, your left hand's going to be playing legato. So I'm going to play hands together, but I'm just going to keep my left hand blocked first, just to keep it a little more simplified. Now soft. You know, that was more than a polka ritardando, that was a full-on ritardando. I'm going to play 15 and 16 again. Yeah, I like that better. Also, I needed to lift up in the left hand for the second beat. Makes it cleaner. Okay, I'm going to do that again, but this time I'm going to play it as written, focusing on keeping my left hand legato connected and my right hand staccato detached. Okay, and then you want a full breath too. I mean, you don't want to stop at the same time. You don't want to connect this to the next part because the next part's a new section. You want a little bit of a space there to make the new section clearer. And the next section is return of A, although it does change at the end. It is a little bit different at the end, not exactly the same as 1 through 8. So measures 22 through the end is where the change happens. I would definitely practice the chord progression at the very end. The last two measures, that would be measures 23 and 24. So D minor, G7, C down there. I would do that a few times to make that comfortable. Now, volume-wise, at measure 13, the music went piano, and it never indicated to go away from piano. So if you're following the music religiously, you can just keep this piano. And that's nice because it'll give more contrast because you have a sforzando coming up right here. Sforzando is played loud, even louder than an accent. And then the ending is forte, it's grand. So because of that, piano works really nicely. I think I naturally just bring it back up to mezzo forte though to kind of separate the sections. And then I still get louder at the end, but I'm not full on piano. I think I play it more at this level. Okay, also, when you repeat this, you can add a ritardando at the end. You don't have to, I don't think I do, but it does kind of make it sound more final. So that is another option for you and you should be aware of that. So the last time you play through, when you play this ending, you could play it like that and just give it some emphasis. It has a really nice sound to it. And that is the complete piece. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial on Bagatelle, and I hope you enjoy learning this piece and performing it for yourself and for others. Happy practicing.